And one of the important things to keep in mind about Roe v. Wade is that it has been reaffirmed many times over the past 45 years, as you know. And most prominently, most importantly, reaffirmed in Planned Parenthood versus Casey in 1992. And as you well recall, Senator, I know when that case came up, the Supreme Court didn't just reaffirm it in passing. The court specifically went through all the factors of stare decisis in considering whether to overrule it. And the joint opinion of Justice Kennedy, Justice O'Connor, and Justice Souter at great length went through those factors. That was the question presented in the case.
Could I interrupt you to say, since you mentioned stare decisis, and I sat on 9 of these hearings, and when the subject comes up, the person says, I will follow stare decisis, and they get confirmed, and then of course they don't. So I think knowing going into it, how you make a judgment on these issues is really important to our vote as whether to support you or not. Because I don't want to go back to those death totals in this country. And I truly believe that women should be able to control their own reproductive systems within, obviously, some concern for a viable fetus.
Mm-hmm. And I understand your point of view on that, Senator, and I understand how passionate and how deeply people feel about this issue. I understand the importance of the issue. I understand the importance that people attach to the Roe v. Wade decision, to the Planned Parenthood versus Casey decision. I don't live in a bubble. I understand. I live in the real world. I understand the importance of the issue.
Well, my staff just passed me a note. Let me read it to you because I think it's a good. Have your views about whether Roe is settled precedent changed since you were in the Bush White House?
My
yes or no?
Well, I'll tell you what my views. I'm not sure what it's referring to about Bush White House, but I will tell you what my view right now is, which is this important precedent of the Supreme Court that's been reaffirmed many times, but then and this is the point I want to make that I think is important, Planned Parenthood versus Casey reaffirmed Roe and did so by considering the stare decisis factors. So Casey now becomes a precedent on precedent. It's not as if it's just a run-of-the-mill case that was decided and never been reconsidered, but Casey specifically reconsidered it, applied the stare decisis factors, and decided to reaffirm it. That makes Casey a precedent on precedent.